bam, damn, a damn Alabama fan and proud of it. Gump Nation forever, brother.
Namath again faking, quickly finds his target.
Now cuts in. He's at the 40-yard line. He's at the 30.
Quick drop throws in the end zone.
Each number represents an expectation, a challenge that only a championship tradition can issue.
Pressure. Anders hits him. The ball is loose.
Alabama, here comes the heat. Cornelius Bennett. Whoa, did he get lit up?
It is an endless passing of the torch that urges the wearer to enrich his legacy.
Brings pressure up the middle in a hurry. They can't get away from Duncan. Alexander first down and more.
Richardson breaks free on the sideline. Turns the corner. Can you say goodbye?
Because at Alabama, tradition is not retired. It is built.
Put a smile on my face.
Big up for it. Fires to the end zone. Alabama is back as the champion.
Catch. Devontae Smith.
Risky throw picked up by Patrick Surtain.
All right.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
How is everybody doing?
Well, I can't speak for everybody. I can speak for me. I'm cold, still a little under the weather. I'm ready to talk some Bama football like always, so let's get this thing going.
All right. Well, let's roll tide, rise up. Hey, bud. Van is jealous of the thing that we done for you. Jeff, roll tide, baby. And Simply Jan. How you doing, sweetheart? I'm glad to see you. Jan, don't forget to catch us tonight. 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central. I've already showed Van the intro for tonight. He likes it.
I'm a little aggravated that the third picture in it looks a lot like me, and I feel like I might have been an inspiration on some of that. But you know what? I'll take it. You know what? Somebody's thinking about me, even if they put me in a Bigfoot situation.
I'm doing okay. Now, I've been busy. As you can tell, I've been busy.
Yeah, I can tell. I'm telling you, man. Mad genius right here, guys. If y'all don't know it, this man gets in the lab. He can put some things together. I loved it. I kept asking him when he was showing me backstage. I said, "Can you see my face while you're watching the video?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "Good," because you can tell I smiled the whole time. I was excited. As soon as it was done, I was clapping, raising hell because it was so cool. Loved it.
Well, maybe it'll go over okay. We'll see.
Oh, it'll go over fine. It'll go over fine. You ain't done nothing bad yet that I've ever seen.
Well, you can tell my previous work, like on yours, I said, you got to get with me, man. We got to get you back up there.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not satisfied with your intro at all. We got to get it going.
Yeah, that's why part of what I was jealous about Rise Ups yesterday, man. I love that music. That was funky. I like that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I did too. And it's just fits Rise Up. You know what I mean?
It does.
It just
I love it. That's my kind of music right there now. I like something with a little beat to it.
Yes, I am. Hey, Miss Jo, I've been wondering where you've been, Miss Joanne. I ain't seen you in a while. But yeah,
Bluefoot
I am
Cat.
familiar with Scott Carpenter. So we'll get into all that kind of stuff. Guys, that it might as well tell it. The Bigfoot Show is going to be a series. Tonight we're going to be with some local guys, people that you know, some of you don't know, and then we're going to go into a Bigfoot researcher next Sunday or Saturday. I got to make sure which day with him. I'm having to work around their schedules, you know.
Yeah.
Then after that, I'm gonna have a nationally known guy, and then we'll have a conclusion that we can talk about anything y'all want to. Okay, so
I'm wondering
that's
if
the way that
anybody
works.
recorded. I kind of sounded like Bigfoot the other night. I hit my leg on a trailer hitch at work, and it was a nice howl. And if there was one in the woods right there, he probably come looking.
You calling them up, ain't you?
Yeah, buddy.
Oh,
6-degree
but,
weather plus me hitting my shin. Nah, it don't work out good like that.
I've got to work on Rise Up's intro because we done the show, and what y'all don't see is or y'all don't know. I can see everything they're doing backstage, and they don't know it. But up until the stream is ended, I can see everything they're doing, and so does the camera, and I can extract just that. Not me. Me and Van sitting here talking. I can go back there and extract his camera and use it as a video. So
I'm gonna be honest.
I got Rise Up doing this.
I'm not so much worried about me. I'm not so much worried about Rise Up. But you need to let Spencer know that, because if he don't think you can see him, God knows what's happening in the background.
No, it ain't him, it's William. I've seen the crack of that butt more times than I care to.
Yeah, one's one too many. Let's just be honest.
One was too many. I was wondering if I get one of them fuzzy blackouts, you know.
It's like an episode of Cops dragging somebody out of the car.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But we'll work on Vans. We will when we get some time. So you ready to talk some football? I know that's why everybody's here.
Oh yeah, always ready to talk football. I tell you, if none of y'all, which I seen most of y'all in the chat yesterday when Roll Tide and Rise Up had his he'd call it a rant. I would say come to Jesus meeting, you know, kind of setting people straight, trying to get their heads back right. The sky ain't falling, Alabama fans. The sky's not falling, guys. We got one heck of a coach coming in, a proven winner. We've got a loaded roster still with people leaving. Half them guys left, I think, because they knew that competition they were going against. You got a kid like Caleb Downs who gets offered like $2 million or something to go to Ohio State. And guess what? We would have all took the bag, okay? So let's stop getting mad at young men for making decisions based on them and their families, okay? It's not a bad thing, okay? We want a team that wants to be here. We want a team that's going to buy in to what Coach DeBoer has to say, his philosophy, his method. They wants to play for the University of Alabama, and maybe that didn't fit everybody. Some of these guys signed up to play for Saban because he was the GOAT, and they knew he could get them to the NFL. And they panicked and they left, and that's okay. You know, it's not right for everybody all the time. You know what we think and what they think is two different things. They don't play for us necessarily. They play for their futures. They play because they love the game. And I'm just gonna be honest with y'all. You know, I get into a lot of Alabama football on Facebook and talking with folks back and forth, and the hatred's really come on the last 2 weeks. Self-hating fans, hating on the program, this, that, and the other, to the point where I've just pretty much removed myself from all of it because, man, I'm 34. I ain't got time for drama. I'm not going to sit here and argue with somebody on the internet. Ain't got time for it. I'll block you and keep rolling. And there's more to life. This is a game. It's a game we all love. We love to watch it. It brings us joy. Sometimes it can make you shake your head and go, what the hell? You know, like the Michigan game.
Mm-hmm.
But life goes on, you know. The sun going to come up tomorrow. And if it don't, we got bigger fish to fry than football, okay? You get what I'm saying, Icebox? I mean, there's more to life than this. I'm not going to sit here and wish ill will on a young man that's making a decision for him. Because back in October, I made a career change. And I did it for more money and the possibility to move up the ladder and the possibility to work less hours and spend time with my family. because that's what's most important to me is my family.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I state it every week, and I'll continue to do it because I know my wife will watch this, and I'm trying to get brownie points.
It ain't working.
Oh yeah, it is. She hadn't left yet. That's the only thing keeping her around. I'm sure it ain't this. I promise you. But you know, I got the best wife in the world and 2 amazing kids, and she's afforded me the opportunity to be a father, and I'm not going to take advantage of that. So that's what's most important for me. And I'll be damned if I'm going to let a great coach who owes us absolutely nothing and gave us 17 years of the best fan experience we could have possibly asked for. I'm not going to look back on that with anger and self-pity and be mad that he's not there anymore. We didn't have to have this. Y'all got – it was different for you, Icebox. You got to see Bear Bryant's heyday, you know? I didn't get to experience that. When I first started coming up watching football, the game meant something to me because it was a way for me and my dad to bond, and he would break down the game for me, and we would talk football. It's the same reason I loved the NFL, because we did the same thing, because we started following certain players out of college, seeing how they do, and then we got into the games, and we got into certain teams. My dad was a Cowboys fan. I hate the Cowboys. I'll just be straight up. But this was the 90s Cowboys, so I'll allow it because, I mean, Michael Irvin, Emmitt Smith, Troy Aikman, it was an amazing team. It was an amazing team. But, you know, that bond that we shared together through football made me love the game and made me want to invest in it and learn more about it and everything. And this ain't ruining football for me. From a content creator standpoint, which we sort of are, you know, we don't do this 24 hours a day, drop videos every day, because we all got to work, you know, because this, you know, we got these gimmicks called bills that come in the mail, and they come in consistent, and you got to pay them. But we all love the game, and this has afforded us an opportunity to get on here and talk with people and make friends and have a place to talk. And I'm not going to let it ruin it for me, because I see a lot of positives for the future. You know, I see things that the coach is doing right now that I like. You know, you remember when Saban come in, and we went, what, 7-6 that year, something like that?
Yeah, I think it was. Not sure about the 7-6. It might have been 7-5, but I know it was awful.
It wasn't a great year, but if you took your blinders off and looked deep, you could see something. And you could see a team coming together. You could see players buying in. They were fighting hard all year long. Well, the next year we go 12-2. We actually contend for an SEC championship, something we hadn't done in like 8-9 years. And I was excited, man, because I remember celebrating the Independence Bowl beating Iowa State by a point. You know what I mean? I remember being excited when we signed a 3-star Terry Jones Jr. That was the first time I'd ever paid attention to recruiting. There was a magazine back in the day, I don't know if it's still around, Bama Insider, and it just had the Bama in the corner. And they would talk about some of the guys that was coming to campus and stuff like that. And I remember being excited. And, you know, a lot of these players, man, that we were getting back then, they weren't program changers. You know, they weren't the biggest, baddest, greatest player to come out of high school. But if you got enough guys that'll buy in, they're all athletes. And if they'll do their job to 110%, look at Michigan. Look at Michigan this year. Who had the better players? Realistically, who had the better players, Alabama or Michigan?
Well, you know I'm going to say Alabama.
Well, on paper, it was Alabama. But Michigan bought in. Their guys done their job, and they won a championship that way. It don't have to be a ton of 5-stars. Look at Washington. They made it to the national championship. To my belief, they don't have a 5-star on that team. They made it to a national championship and beat a Texas team that beat us. That's fairly impressive. And now we're going to get that head coach to walk in and replace Saban. And let's just be honest. It takes a set of balls. It takes a set of balls to walk in after Saban leaves and say, I'm going to try to do this job to the best of my abilities. I mean, that I don't know that I would have done it. That's a challenge I don't think I would have wanted to take. This guy wasn't scared. And like Spencer said, Saban's first year wasn't a ton of talent for him to work with. There was, but there was some talent there. But there's a process of finding your players, finding the guys that's putting in the extra effort, guys that are buying in. It don't happen overnight. I mean, what are we going to do next year if we go 7-5? Is half the fan base quit watching? I'm not.
Your bandwagon fans will.
Exactly. And they can leave as far as I'm concerned. I do not care. And I'm going to be looking at these games, and I'm going to be trying to break down the positives. And let's see what we can build on, and let's see what this coach can do. He may be here another 25 years. He may be here 3 years. We don't know. But if we don't buy in and give him an opportunity, we'll never know what we could have had. We were so ready to stop losing and being inconsistent when Nick Saban came to school, Because I remember, 1 year a couple years we're on probation. And Mike Shula in 2005, I'll forever say it, that should have been a national championship team. And I'm not hating on Mike Shula, but the talent was there. We have a D'Amico Ryans on defense. We had Roman Harper on defense. On offense, we had quietly one of the best receiving corps Alabama has ever had. We had a pro throw, a Keith Brown. We had guys that don't get mentioned a lot because Alabama statistically didn't use them like we would today. It was a different philosophy, different mindset on offense. Brody Kroll, who could sling the rock, and people crap on him, but the kid made it to the NFL, and he had one of the strongest arms I've ever seen in person. And a loaded backfield. We had great offensive linemen. That should have been a national championship team. And had Nick Saban been there, I believe it would have been. But I remember beating Texas Tech in the Cotton Bowl that year on the helicopter kick, and it hits the middle of the crossbar and falls in, and we win. And I celebrated like we'd won a national championship because I was not used to seeing us have 10-win seasons. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Look at 99. We win the SEC championship. It was huge for me because we beat Florida twice in 1 year. A good Florida team. That was when Steve Spurrier was in. I mean, he was locked in. He was, guys like Rex Grossman. And, the talent goes on and on and on and on. And we beat them twice in 1 year. Sean Alexander goes down. We lose to Louisiana Tech in the same season. You want to talk about inconsistent? A team that would you couldn't stay up for very long. We would beat a top 5 team, turn around and lose to a Louisiana Tech. That's what Saban brought in, and I think that's what this coach right now is going to bring in is consistency. We can live with losing a ball game. You lose to a well-coached, good football team, you can live with that.
Oh, yeah.
But he's the type of guy to bring consistency or keep consistency like Nick Saban always has. And I'm happy for that, man, because at the end of the day, it's not his fault that Nick Saban retired. But it ain't Nick Saban's fault Nick Saban retired. He's 72, guys. He's been to the top of the mountain so long. It'd be hard to wake up and be motivated at 72 to keep doing this, wouldn't you think? Honestly, wouldn't you eventually say, you know what, I'd like to hang out with my kids and my grandkids a little bit?
I'm 62. You think at 72 I'm going to have my ugly face on this camera? No, I don't think so.
You better. But anyways, I'll just keep bugging you till you come on. I ain't going to give you an option. But anyways, you know me. I'm consistent too when I have to be. But, but man, why are we all upset? And I'm not talking about our fan base. I'm not talking about the folks in our chat because we got good fans over here. We've got guys like Roll Tide and Rise Up who give a great speech yesterday. I hung on every word. I loved every bit of it. Humbled me a little bit. I appreciate the praise he dumped on me. He needs some glasses, but I appreciate it just the same. It really was humbling for somebody of his ilk and talent to even recognize anything I'm doing. It means a lot to me. But man, it was such a great speech because this is supposed to be fun, guys.
It is.
This is supposed to be fun. You know what? When we lost that Michigan game, did we not still come back on here the next week?
The very night.
I'm not going to duck it. No. I'm not going to duck it. It's a loss. It is what it is. We played a guy that had his team motivated and ready. He got the most out of his talent, and we still took him to overtime playing horrible. It's okay. Yeah. It's going to happen. I'm not going to sit there and get upset about it. Man, we still had a great year. We've seen the rise of Milroe, a guy that had bought in and stayed true to Nick Saban and his philosophy and didn't leave when he could have. because his athleticism could have took him anywhere he wanted to go in the transfer portal. He would have been gone. But he stayed, he put in the work, and we watched him get better every game. That's fun, man. That's fun for me. Yeah, that's the kind of story you love from sports, is the underdog kind of thing, because you got a guy like Ty Simpson, who I'm not hating on, but was a 5-star quarterback, comes in, a lot of talent, a lot of hype behind him. Oh, he's going to be the quarterback next year. Well, Milroe had something to say about that, and he went out and he won the team, and he took the team on vacations and was working with them and trying to get better. And I mean, that's an underdog story. We love an underdog story. What made the first Rocky movie so fun? It was an underdog story. Was it realistic? Not really. Apollo would have beat him to death in real life. I mean, you could watch the different boxing styles. It's, and I know it was based off of like Chuck Wepner versus Muhammad Ali, and the fact that Chuck took him to the rope, took him to the bell nearly. But at the end of the day, we knew who was the better boxer here.
Mm-hmm.
But it's fun to watch an underdog story. And that's what we had, with that quarterback, and players that were at the beginning of the year not living up to their expectations and slowly getting better. And seeing the unit come together and win big games in the last second, getting the job done, that's exciting. That's what sports is supposed to be about. If we just come out and beat everybody 70-0, I wouldn't have no reason to watch it no more. I want good football games. But, that's my little rant on it. I can't do it as good as Rise Up, but I had been wanting to say a little something about the fan base, not the people in the chat, because these are good folks over here. But you know where I'm going with this. You just get everywhere you see it. Anybody that posts a video, just comment sections full of people that's throwing their hands up. They just give up. They don't know what to do. And I'm like, how long have you been an Alabama fan? Because I remember the bad times. And even back then, I could pull something good from it. Even the inconsistent years when we had guys like D'Amico Ryans and Roman Harper, they were fun to watch for me. Kenneth Darby running the ball. Andrew Zhao coming off the bench against Auburn, scoring 5 touchdowns. That was things that were fun to watch. And the NIL is what it is. The portal's open for Alabama right now for I don't know how many more days. People leave. A couple months, it's going to be back open. You think Alabama's not going to be throwing the bag themselves and getting guys to come? It balances out. It's okay. But that's what I wanted to say about that. That was my little rant. I can't do it as good as Rise Up. I was fired up when he was doing his yesterday. I wish I could have come on with him. I'd have been a lot more passionate about it than I am today. But I'm just almost burnt out on having to talk to people about it, because I get texts and calls all the time about, like I'm the authority on Alabama. I don't know no more than anybody else. I don't know what their next move is going to be, but I got good faith it's going to be a good one. We didn't hire a guy with a bunch of controversy around him, like other teams in the state that, go out and hire a guy that stays in trouble and has gotten in trouble with the NCAA. No, we went and got a guy that tries to do it straight up. And his offensive philosophy, man, that's exciting. Did you watch Michael Penix this year? Shoot, man. I'd love to see Milroe or any of the other guys out there slinging the rock like that. I can't wait. I cannot wait. And that offensive coordinator, like you mentioned, bringing in Grubb, that's a guy Saban wanted last year. So he obviously seen something in him. So now we're getting those two guys. We're getting the receivers coach. We're getting that O-line coach that won the Joe Moore Award. The center's coming.
Mm-hmm. Heard that this morning.
Now we're already improving in certain aspects. Don't you see that too?
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, I'm just not going to throw my hands up and cry about it. I'm going to get excited about the things we can watch and see where, fundamentally we get better and see where we need to improve and see how the coach handles it. That's the fun part of it, Football is a game of chess and countering people's moves and figuring out things. And as a fan, that's what we want to see. We got spoiled, guys. Mm-hmm. It's okay. It happens.
All right, yeah. Nice rant. I like it. I love it. Why do you think the fans are doing like they're doing? Are they just bandwagons, or is it because we're spoiled? Or are they afraid of what's going to be coming on this next season, that You know, I think a lot of it has to do with if you listen to Rise Up yesterday, he became a fan when he moved to Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and he was the best thing out of Alabama was I-20, that kind of stuff. They was ribbing him, you know, and they still do it to this day.
Sure.
And we got a good friend as far as KB. And I mean, there's no telling what other shows are out there that other Alabama fans go and listen to, and they hear the same thing. These people troll. We don't get a bunch of them because we run them off.
Yeah.
But the ones we do, we've got good Georgia fans that do show up, such as Two Time and a few others, you know, that we enjoy. You know, it's not that are Georgia fans; they're good people. You know.
Yeah, I don't hate fans just because they root for a different team, and I want to always make sure I put that out there, and because you need other teams, or what we're gonna do? Just watch ourselves scrimmage? You know what I mean? Like you need other teams out there, and there's good rivalries and good teams. Like I love playing Georgia. I don't hate Georgia. They're a great program that's set up to win a championship every year if things go the way they need them to go. And we derailed that for them this year, and it was a fantastic football game. And those are the kind of games I get up for. I look forward to LSU possibly having a better defense this year, and let's see what they do because that's my favorite game. Alabama versus LSU has always been my favorite football game. There's a feeling, an electricity in the air when Alabama and LSU play, especially at night. There's just a feeling to it, man. It's intense. It feels like there's a big rumble going on, and you're about to see two of the best collide and see who comes out of it. It's physical. It's fast. You're usually getting to see 30 or 40 NFL talents on the field at any given time. I mean, it's something to see, you know. And so, yeah, I don't hate people because I've got friends that are Auburn. I can't believe I'm admitting it, but they're Auburn fans. And I'm okay with that as long as they don't try to come to me talking too crazy. You know, we can talk football without getting belligerent and just hating on each other. But because I see some things Auburn's doing that's good, but I also see some internal conflict and coaches running left and right now. And I'm like, what's going on over there? You know what I mean? So, I mean, you got to humble yourself as a fan base and realize it can end this fast. And, you know, the way football's set up now, nobody really has the plan to stay consistent. They can say they do, but we've never seen these things before. You know, you can have good foresight and a plan, but we've never seen like when Nick Saban leaves and the portal's open for 30 days and guys can just go anywhere. That we've not really run it. We've never run into that, but we haven't really seen any big time programs have to run into that. Because Michigan's had the same coach for X amount of years. Ohio State's had the same coach for X amount of years. Georgia, the list goes on. And we've not encountered that yet. So we're the trial run as usual. And that's okay. Like, I just really see things I'm excited about. And this ain't me trying to talk myself up. No, as a football fan, I'm excited, man. Let's see what this offense is. He's bringing
I think it's interesting.
He's bringing in head coaches as coordinators on defense. What's not to love about that, man? The kid he brought, good God, the guy he brought in from Wisconsin that's a coach. When he was the DB coach at Cincinnati, they had the #1 pass defense. Hey, I'm excited about that. Here's a guy that knows what consistency and what big time, and we can laugh. Oh, it was Cincinnati. Well, they played us in the playoffs that year. They got there.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
They did a good job. I mean, it's hard for a team like that to crawl through all that and get to a championship. Say what you want. They don't have the depth of an Alabama, a Georgia, an Ohio State. So for them to get there the way they did, impressive. So, yeah, let's bring this guy on. The guy from South Alabama that's coming in. When he was a linebacker coach at UAB, they had consistently one of the best linebacking groups as far as what they were doing on the field. And it wasn't the best talent. It was the coaching putting them in a position to make plays. And I've kept up with this guy, and I like what I see. So I was excited to see that hire. I know sometimes we want to see stars, you know. We want to see, you know.
Immediate success.
Yeah, it's not how life works, you know. It just ain't.
So, by the way, guys, this is an open chat room, so if anybody wants to come on and talk to Van or myself, y'all come on.
Go back to your question. Go back to your question because I'll rant and go hard left. And you got to steer me back on the highway. But you know how I am.
Yeah, but, don't mind.
Man, I think it's a little bit of both. We got some spoiled people that when they were when they were watching the game and Alabama got better and then we were winning championships and we were dominating people's teams and they've been getting trash talk this whole time. For years, we've been dealing with trash talk from the likes of Auburn, Georgia. Not so much Georgia because we didn't run into each other much. But when we did, Georgia was the better unit. In the early 2000s, mid-2000s, Georgia was still pretty strong with Mark Richt. And, we dealt with a lot of trash talk and we seen a program go from the top, late 70s, early 80s, come down, get humbled a little bit. We didn't completely fall off in the 80s. People forget that. They think Perkins and Curry just did the worst job. They didn't. But they didn't beat Auburn consistently, and they didn't win championships, and people don't let that slide in Alabama. And that's where I'm going with this. So we get Gene Stallings, who was a good man, cared about his team. He made them like a family. That defense may have been the greatest to ever walk on the field in 92. And he wasn't the strongest X's and O's guy, but he was a strong communicator and a strong leader. And that can get you to the heights, And then he walks away. We get a series of Mikes in the building that just couldn't get it done. Dubose, Price, and his credit card dilemma. We don't even know what he could have done at Alabama.
You're talking about the dark ages now.
Yeah. See, and that's when I was coming up. That's when I was 7, 8, 9 years old. It's when Dubose got in trouble for what was that? Secretary Gate, and then we went on probation for some other. What was his name? Like Means or something that was at Memphis, and we tried to pay him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's where old famous Phil Fulmer.
Yeah.
But his
Yeah.
And we can't win because Alabama.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and how much we both love Phil Fulmer. Piece of shit.
Yeah, okay.
But
different subject.
Yeah, we'll stay off that. But and then we, a series of Mikes there again. Mike Francione, and then we get Mike Shula. And I don't hate Mike Shula. I don't look at the Mike Shula days. He had his back against the wall, let's be honest. We were coming off of sanctions a couple years before that. We walked right back into some more. The teams overall had diminished. Alabama was not the job to be anymore. You was not going to go steal a coach from a premier program and get him at Alabama anymore at that time. He played at Alabama. I think he did the best that he could with what he had. I really do. Because I seen things during Mike Shula's era. We talked about that 05 team. That offense was ridiculous. And that defense played good under Shula, even in the bad years. I'm talking about 4 and 9. We still played pretty good defense. It was just an inconsistency thing. We just could never play together great for a full season. But, regardless, we've seen bad times as Alabama fans. We all lived through that because, like I said, you grew up during the Bear Bryant era. And, other than 68, 69, or 69 and 70, Bear Bryant was pretty damn good every year. But he even had drop-off. He had a drop-off, and he went out, and he learned a different philosophy on offense, and he invested in the wishbone, and he went out and done it a little different because he had the foresight to know that what I'm doing is not working anymore. And you got to be able to humble yourself and realize maybe I don't know everything. Maybe I need to go out. And we've seen it with Saban when he hired what's his nuts from Ole Miss. Can't stand him, Lane Kiffin.
Mm-hmm.
Our offensive philosophy completely changed. Some good, some bad.
Yeah.
I've never really felt like our defense has been the same since our offense changed because if you score really fast, your defense don't get to rest. So they're on the field more.
Yeah.
And we just consistently haven't been the same on defense. But that's a whole nother conversation. You can break that down to player development and all this other stuff. And, I'm not going into it right now. But, as a fan base, there's some people that had lived through some dark times and it felt good to talk again. Puff your chest out and Bama's the best again, I get that to a point. I'm not much of a shit talker like that. That's just not really my game. Because I'm not on the field doing it, so I'm not going to take credit for it. But then you've got your bandwagon people that are always going to root for winners, and they always find a reason to end up on a winning squad. I I've been guilty of it. When I was a kid in the 90s and Michael Jordan was in his heyday and he was tearing the NBA up, wins 3 championships, retires, come back, win 3 more. Nobody could stop him. He was unlike anything we'd ever seen. I was a Bulls fan. I was a little kid and I was a Bulls fan. And I'll sit here and admit it, no problem. And basketball really has not been the same for me since he retired. I still watch at it, but it ain't the same because there was such a feeling around Michael Jordan and what those Bulls were doing. And I'm not going to give all the credit to Jordan because he had a Pippen and a Rodman and several other guys, but there was a feeling around what they did. You wanted to be part of it. And I think that happened with Alabama too. People locked in. They seen what they seen. They liked it. They want to be part of a winning movement, make friends, feel part of something. That's okay. But don't just write the new guy off. Don't just act like this guy has never done anything in his entire coaching career when we watched him play for a national championship this year. He made it further than we did.
I got a question.
Yes.
Are you in the chat room, Van Edwards, anybody that's listening, are you afraid of losing? Is that what the problem is? Is that you're so used to winning? Are you afraid that somebody's going to come up to you, go ha ha ha, that you lost? You're not the great dynasty that you once were. Is that what you're afraid of? Is that why you're jumping ship? Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so a lot of us run in the same communities on YouTube. A lot of us go to the same channels. I see all of us everywhere, and we combat. A lot of us get into a lot of verbal spouts back and forth that really mean nothing amongst other fan bases. And some of them are fun. Some of it's fun. Sometimes you get people that are fun fans that'll talk a little trash, but at the end of the day, y'all both agree, we've got great programs. This is fun. I'm glad we're where we're at. Then you got people that are hateful and they troll you and they hide behind this fake profile picture and they would never say the things to your face that they're saying on the internet because the internet can breed cowards. As beautiful as the internet can be and a vast unlimited knowledge of information. And I'm one of them guys that at 2:00 in the morning, I may be studying Coach East and his strategic strategies when he was fighting against the U.S. Army or, just things like I may go, I wonder what happened in Spain in 14. I'm one of them weirdos where if I get something on my brain, boom, I'm studying it. And here we go, we let people get in their head a little bit. I'm not going to let no other fan base shit talk me because ain't nobody alive ever had this much success in 17 years at a program. Nobody else. So you're not going to be able to sit there and talk to me because we owned everybody. We owned every fan base. We owned championships. We've put more players in the NFL in an X amount of time than some programs have in their entire history. You're not going to sit there and make me mad by saying something. You're just not going to get my blood pressure up that way. I've been guilty of it. Don't get me wrong. I'm no better than anybody else. I've got trapped up in that. Start arguing with people, couldn't type fast enough, nearly break my phone, when I look back on it in hindsight, I'm like, what am I getting mad about? This guy's clearly angry because he's expecting more and ain't getting it. And, as a fan, I've got the luxury of watching some greatness happen here. And I don't think that'll not continue. So I think there's a lot of it because of where we hang out on YouTube sometimes and the fan bases that come in and troll us and they like to see us get mad and it makes them laugh. Mm-hmm. And that gets in our head and then we're scared to lose. Not all of us. Some people are scared to lose because then they got to show up and get egg on their face. And don't care. Do not care.
I do it every week.
Yeah.
I get egg on my face every week.
Yeah, me too. Every time. Hey, you ready to do this show? As soon as that camera comes on, I'm a person. I can't stand the way I look. I hate the way I sound. I've never once went back and watched a show I've been part of. Not one time. Because I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear what I got to say. I have isolated clips before and listened to something you said because it made sense to me and I liked it and I wanted to hear it again. But I'm skipping over my part. I'm just that way, man. I can't stand it. But don't let other fan bases get y'all mad and riled up and ready to fight and this and that and another. It ain't worth it. It ain't worth it. It's a game. Ain't none of us play. Ain't none of us play for university. I didn't even attend the university. It's clear when you hear me talk that I've never been to a university. So don't let it get so don't get so mad. Just don't let it block people. There's an option on YouTube and chats when people start coming at you for something you said for speaking an opinion. Well, you can block them. You ain't got to hear them no more. And I participate in that a lot the last 2 weeks. Seeing somebody comes at me sideways, I'm like, yep, don't hear it no more. I don't care.
Got to them yesterday.
Yep, I do not care.
And that's something, don't come on here talking stupid. You start coming on here. I mean, Rise Up was doing a good show yesterday.
He's doing a great show. And if you've seen the numbers, it tells the story that he did a great show, man. He did some of the highest numbers I've seen on this channel, period. And that was a day ago.
Yeah, and that's not. I mean, I'm glad of it and proud of it.
No, I'm not making it about numbers.
It was just such a good show,
Because people love to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, and there was 2 idiots coming here, and I've seen them before. It wasn't it. It was just that they were going off to try to troll and try to make us mad. And it was a Tennessee lady, and it was Blue something Steel. I can't remember what it was. Hey, y'all come back on days that we want to talk, trash, but not yesterday. I mean, everybody was locked in on what Rise Up was saying. So, yeah, they got kicked out.
Yeah,
pretty much. And if you want to blame somebody, hey, I'm your man.
And you see that right there? Rise Up said, didn't know that we had trolls. I wasn't paying attention. See, because he don't care.
And I kept it that way. Well, I kept it that way.
He's got his focus right here on what he was saying. He was in the moment. He didn't care about all that. I didn't even know we had trolls on here because I didn't pay attention to them. There was one guy that come in here that was a Tennessee fan yesterday during the thing, and he said something, and I was like, oh, look, you misspelled a word. You must have been a Tennessee graduate. And I left it at that.
Yeah, I remember that.
I'm not going to go too personal with people, but when somebody's come on here that we don't get to see as much anymore, and we all respect so much and want to hear his opinion, don't come in here talking crap. If it's my show, whatever, I can take it.
Yeah, we don't care.
I'll probably make fun of myself more than any of y'all ever will, so it's not going to matter to me. But there's so many things about this. But we've got real fans too, and that's the ones I focus on. That's the people that show up at our shows and they want to talk about the news because they're excited as a fan base, and that's the people I'm worried about. I ain't worried about people that we don't associate with. You get what I'm saying?
Oh, sure. And I want you to talk about something. And we said it before the show even started because I wanted to know, and I wanted to know where you stood. What are you expecting? You brought it up a while ago. Dick Saban, when his first year, he was like 7. I don't know why I keep wanting to say 7-4, but it's more like 7-5, 7-6, whatever.
Yeah.
But for some reason, 7-4 just sounded better, all right to me. But anyways, now you got this new coach coming in, and you got he brought his OC, that one that we was after last year, like you said. We've got Mr. Kane Walmack. I'm gonna just say it that way, whether it's right or wrong. He's coming in with a different philosophy on defense, I'm sure.
Yes.
Now you got players leaving out because it's not this or not that. It could be Nilma. I could care less.
Yeah, it
why
could be
you're leaving.
That don't fit what they like. I mean, it could be a multitude of things.
Yeah, you may want to go here, may go there. I don't care. Do what's best for you. Goodbye. Appreciate you being here for what time you were. But there are other players that want to play for this man that's coming in.
Yes.
We just got the transfer from Washington. I believe we've got somebody else from Washington already. I just can't remember who they were. You can tell that there are people wanting to play for this coach and this OC. So what I want to know from everybody is, okay, you ask me, what kind of season do I want this year? Well, I would love to see a 10-2, get us in the playoffs and win our first playoff and get into the top 8. I think that would be a very successful year for this coach. Yeah. Now, if he goes further than that, that's a mind blower. But just getting there would be a great season for us. I mean, he could go 7-5. We not go nowhere. Or we could go to a little small bowl game, possibly win or lose. Could be 7-6 all over again. What are you going to do? Everybody going to just flood the waters and jump off the boat of Alabama? Y'all go right ahead.
Let's just fire the coach after 1 year. We will deal with some of that if we don't reach everybody else's expectations. But to me, you've got to be realistic. Man, we've been so good so long. I know it's hard to take a step back.
And that's what I'm asking. Are people afraid?
Realistic about it. We've been slowly taking a step back. There's more of an argument that we were talent-wise a better team a year ago when Bryce and Will Anderson was there and we had 2 losses than we were this year with 2 losses, and we made it into the playoffs and played bad and could have still won the ball game, but we didn't play like Alabama that we're used to. We made so many stupid penalties. We gave up so many sacks throughout the year. There was still some inconsistencies with the program, and we've been falling off a little bit. And there's a bunch of things. But what do we expect the man to do the first year? I personally want to see them, well, I guess you could say uphold the Bama standard. Play hard. It's not the losses. It's how you play. I seen Spencer say it in the chat earlier. It's when we beat ourselves when it kind of hurts. It's not when you get beat by good teams. It's when you beat yourself and had the opportunity to win that hurt. Because you want to see these young men buy into something because you know what it holds for them. Because if you do what your coach tells you and you do your job, you can go as far as you want, And so for me, it's not really a win-loss record that I want to see. It's what kind of fight do we have? How innovative is our offense? Yes. How innovative is our offense? Are we willing to change? Are we willing to change our game plan a little bit if it's not working? What do we see the coaches doing during the games to counter things? Because there was times the last few years, if we're being honest, where we've seen our coordinators not really making changes at halftime. Or, like the Michigan game, Justice Haynes is running wild. He's averaging like 8-9 yards a carry, and we're like, oh, we're going to stop doing that now. Why? Why are we stopping it? I'm not an expert, but if something's working, I stick with it. And it was working, and we stopped doing it. And I don't know if the moment was too big for Tommy Reese. I don't want to speak ill on him either. But there's things like that bother me more than the loss. It's how we approached it. If we'd have kept running the ball and Michigan just kept answering it and still beat us, I can live with that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But try it. Do something else. What we were doing was not working. When your quarterback gets sacked 4 times in the first quarter, maybe adjust how you're doing it. Roll him out of the pocket, things like that. Just stuff we didn't really see them try, and that's what bothers you is what might have been. And so if our coach shows willingness with his staff to adjust things and on the fly be able to approach things differently and not just be so set on his game plan that he'll go down with the ship no matter what and never change anything. If I see him trying to change and we're competitive, I can live with the record. The record don't bother me so much. It's the growth around the team in a short amount of time, because by the time fall gets here and we're into the season, he still won't have been here a year. So if we see them guys fighting hard for him and we see on the coaching end them doing the best they can to put our players in a winning position, that's all you can ask for. It really is.
I remember when Saban come here and somebody asked me what I thought about it. I said, I don't care. As long as he makes us competitive again. And it's just like Rise Up just said, not the loss, but how we lost.
Yes.
And that's the way it always should be. If you're competitive, you've got something to – I don't care if you're Georgia. I don't care if you're Ole Miss, Tennessee. As long as you're competitive, and not losing to stupid stuff, whether it be coaching or whatever.
Yes.
That's what matters. Is that you get in there and you fight the best you can, or play the best you can. Let's go that route.
If you want to lose a team
so
as
who
a coach,
wins?
If you want to lose a team as a coach, lose on your decision making and not improve it. You will lose your team. I've seen it happen at every level. And daggum Rise Up, he sums it up in a sentence, and it takes me 5 minutes and 14 paragraphs to do it. He's better with his words, but I agree with him 100%, man. It's not the loss, it's how you lose. And Spencer said something
that's the way it's all.
And that's the way it should be as a fan. If your guys go out and fight and they lose, you should still support those guys, and be like, daggum it, they tried, man. And it's hard to do that sometimes. You get caught up in the moment, and, you got a close game, and you go into overtime, and sometimes we forget how hard they had to fight to keep it in that game, because we've had so many things go wrong in certain games, and for them to overcome it and get into overtime against the Michigan, man, my hat's off to them because they shouldn't have been there. Michigan was playing mistake-free football, and Alabama was trying their best to give the game away, and we stuck around somehow and had the ability to still win. So you can't really – you can get mad at the mistakes, but at the end of the day, you got to be proud that those guys had the ability to fight no matter what.
Oh, yeah.
They were fighters. The team was a group of fighters, and I was so proud of this team this year. I loved watching this Alabama team this year.
Oh, I did, and it was fun. It was fun to watch them. Roll Tide, rise up. Don't worry. We're not going to have a Pac-12. That's why there's not one of them over here.
No.
If they do, something will happen very quickly. I'm going to ask either Spencer or Rise Up or anyone to come on and help for just a few minutes so I can go smoke a cigarette.
Yes.
That's basically all I'm doing. And then if you want to get off, that's fine. If you want to stay, that's fine. But if you wouldn't mind, come on for a minute. I'll do it
Yeah, I
again.
think we'll probably run another 10, 15 minutes. But
no, I got more questions for you.
okay,
Trust me.
Fine, I'm here. I'm here.
Yeah. If they don't show up in just a second, hell, I'll ask you and I'll walk outside for a minute and I can still hear you. You know that.
Oh, you know me, I'm full of air. I'll talk and talk and talk. But
well, before we go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I want to know this, and it's funny how we are just lost our minds over Isaiah Bonds. We see him riding around a Lamborghini. Okay, no big deal. Not to me. I've heard other stuff about it.
I'd love to drive a Lamborghini.
The other players, nobody really has said much about. I mean, they're basically spotlighting the All-Star Caleb Downs. I don't blame him. I loved watching him too. Could have been great in our defense. Goodbye. Ain't nothing I can do today. Okay, Spencer, I appreciate it.
Offer me $2 million to see where I go. I'm sorry, especially at 19 years old, or 20 years old, however old Caleb Downs is. He was an incredible player. One of the bright spots of a good defense this year. Man, offer me $2 million though. That's game changing money right there because he's not promised another down. Let's be honest. He could go out
leg anytime, have
a career-ending injury, and that will affect him his whole life, and he would have never had the opportunity to go pro and make any kind of money. So you've got to think about those kind of things. You really do.
Well, look at it this way. We lost Caden Proctor.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in my opinion, this is my opinion and my opinion only. So, I mean, was he really that big of an all-star on that end, on his side? No, he had problems.
Sure he did.
Could he be better this year? Well,
absolutely.
That remained to be seen. But
and
I'm not going to sit here and cry about it.
Him going to Iowa, they're good about building offensive linemen up there, and they have some great offensive linemen. And
but anyway, let him go. Anyways, all right. Now let's see. Julius Sain's coming. Oh, I hear that he's not coming. Okay, that's fine too. Yeah. We still got, all our quarterbacks except Eli is still there. We're not hurting for quarterbacks. Once this man puts his program out there, you're going to get different kinds or maybe other quarterbacks, that wants to come here. What I'm trying to get at, guys, none of our running backs have left. There has not been a major exodus on the lines, as far as I'm concerned. This man's coming in with a different program that people are going to be fitted in the way that he wants them. Yeah. Plus, we still got recruiting in February. Plus, we still got the portal coming up. I can't remember. I know it's before the spring or after spring, something like that. But anyways, we got the portal coming up. We're going to be fine. This is still going to be an Alabama football team. Y'all forget that people do not just come in here and say, this is how I'm going to do things. There is a book. There is a standard that they go by. That's right, Mr. Jones. Sweet Justice Haynes is still here. Yes. So anyways, all right, my man's coming in, and this is your dream come true. So I'm going to step out and bring this man in. I wished I had his intro lined up, but I'll get him later. All right, now just remember, I'm going to give you a hint. Me and you look alike to him, so you be nice to him.
Man, you shouldn't put Icebox down like that. We don't look nothing alike. How you doing, Rise Up, man?
I'm good, brother. How you good? How you doing, man?
Oh, doing good, man. That was a fantastic show you had yesterday, man. I want you to know that. It was great.
Hey, man, I appreciate it.
Hey, we all sometimes need a little wake-up call. You know what I'm saying? You need a little reminder us that things aren't as bad as they really are.
Right.
I posted something on Facebook, and we're friends on Facebook the other day, and you commented on it. And Michelle Cochran just mentioned it in the chat that Bill O'Brien's at Ohio State now.
Mm-hmm.
And that blew my mind when I seen that. And I think it did yours too, because you responded to it. And I could not believe that with the talent they've got up there. What are they trying to do? I'm not trying to hate on Bill O'Brien, but you know, he's kind of trended downwards. Everywhere he's kind of going, it's kind of falling off. Right. And I don't understand that move. Man, there's so much talent at Ohio State right now. Like, they're primed to compete for a title next year. You know, same coaching staff for the most part, especially the head coach. Yeah, Michigan will still be there, but they fight Michigan hard. That's always a good ball game.
Right.
Why Bill O'Brien?
I think I said some of your posts like, why would anybody? Never mind. Like, never mind. You know,
it makes no sense. BJ Hammond just said Downs went to Ohio State because he knows Bob will be there. It'd be more time on the field.
Hey, he might be on something. So hey, listen.
Blew my mind. So I mean, we could realistically still had Nick Saban bringing Bob back. You know what I mean? Like, things aren't as bad as we think they are.
Right.
Grubb is fantastic to get what he got out of the talent that he had.
Right.
I remember watching Penix at Indiana, and he kept staying hurt. And Coach DeBoer was there at that time, and he kept staying hurt, and he transfers over with him to Washington. And last year he came on my radar big time. And I was like, I remember this guy. I watched him at Indiana. And you could see him throw these beautiful, accurate passes on a rope, man. Back of the end zone, over the shoulder fade, stuff you just don't see from a college quarterback very often.
Right.
And it was like his development, night and day difference. And I'm like, that staff is getting the most out of their players. Like, we had talked about it on this show a couple months ago about how good that staff had been developed in Washington. Because they quietly come out of nowhere. I mean, they lost 3 games in 2 years, and we really wasn't talking about them. And I don't know if we just think the Pac-12 completely fell off or what it was, but I know you watch a lot of football like I do, like NSJ does, Nick Saban Jr. And that was a kid that if you ever watched one game with him at Washington, you're like, holy crap, he had to be a number 1 quarterback coming out of high school, but he wasn't.
Right.
And he bought into that coach and that coaching staff. Same with the offensive line. Bunch of 3- and 4-star guys.
Right.
Man, you know, we should be excited right now. This guy gets the most out of his talent. What's he going to do with the cupboard he's got at Alabama? That's what I want to see. You know,
that's the beautiful part.
We've all questioned whether we're getting the most player development out of Alabama, especially on the defensive line, and the linebackers, and the offensive line, and the receivers. We feel like at times, hey, these guys were 5 stars. They were great. We've watched their high school film. They've looked amazing. They get to Alabama, and they look good. They don't look great. You know, we see them go pro, and they look amazing. And we're like, what's the deal? What's the deal? So I wanted to get your take on that. Like, how are you looking at this coaching staff coming in? What's got you excited necessarily as a fan?
Well, to be honest with you, the two top tier things that got me excited. One and two thing is, number one, the coach that our head coach now, DeBoer, like everyone knows and everybody's been saying, the guy just left a national championship. Even though he didn't win, he had his team in the national championship. The second thing is that our new OC was the same guy we was trying to get. Saban was trying to get just the year before, and it didn't pan out. So if we give Saban the accolades that we give him, and they are just due, it's not like we're just giving him some blindly. This man has earned everything that that comes his way.
No doubt.
Then we are to believe that this guy, Saban wanted this guy for a reason, right? He wanted him for a reason, and that was the first choice, because I remember we were all, I'm going to say me. I'm not going to say everybody else, but I'm going to say me. I'm like, Riley, you know, screaming, Riley. And then we hear about Grubbs, and I'm like, I mean, I heard of Grubbs, but I have to be honest with everybody. I never really paid that much attention to Washington. I've never been, as far as the Pac-12 go, with me a bit Oregon, UCLA, not UCLA, but USC, something like that. But you know, I don't really get too deep in there. But I heard the name of Grubbs before, and I'm like, okay. And then you just mentioned Nick Saban Jr. Nick Saban Jr. had been talking about Michael Penix for a minute, and he really put me up on this guy. To be honest with you, that's who put Penix on my radar. And so when I saw what Penix was doing, you know, when I went back and looked at what he did the previous year, then I looked at what he did, you know, this past season. I'm like, man, this guy's like the quarterback whisperer. Now we have to give Penix his credit that he is a talent. Yes. So, but as you said previously, we have 5 and 4 stars coming in that's been talked up, but they get to Alabama and it's like, what happened?
Yes.
What happened? I mean,
especially at receiver and offensive line and defensive line, because that was something that 3-4 years ago we were pumping them out to the NFL. We were a pipeline, offensive lineman every year, defensive lineman, first round, you know, consistently. And here lately, you see guys go pro, and then you see them contributing to good teams and playing well, but you didn't really see the same kind of success at Alabama, you know, consistently. Yes. 100%.
Even Wright is in. I'm like, dude, you hear his name back. I'm like, but at Alabama, he was good, but he was good for a penalty. He might go a good play, and then
no, you're 100% right. And then you see a guy like Will Rogers coming in that's supposed to be coming in from that had transferred from Mississippi State to Washington, wanted to be part of that program, and now that he's leaving there, you know, they're saying he could come to Alabama. You know, I watched a lot of Will Rogers. Man, he's a great decision maker. He's a good quarterback. I don't think he'll take the job from Milroe, but it's another guy to have in your pocket. You know what I mean? Like our quarterback room, Julian Sayer or not, is stacked right now. And then who's the other kid? Austin Mack. He's a giant, man. He's built like Cam Newton.
So
I'm okay with that.
He's 6'6", and whatever. My question to you is, so we already got one quarterback, and if we bring Will Rogers in, Larnigan, Simpson? Well, I mean, somebody gonna go, bro.
They're gonna go. Somebody's got to go. I mean, realistically, I hope across the board that we have competition at every position. I hope nobody's job's guaranteed. That kind of thing. You know, you've got to earn it, like we've seen from the quarterbacks this previous year.
Right.
And I hope we see that across the board, because if we do, I still give Milroe the edge over everybody. His athletic ability, his decision making when it matters most has been pretty good. His ability to get the job done when the game was on the line, you just can't teach that.
Right.
I don't think anybody will edge him out, but I think a guy like a Dylan Lonergan will climb as high as possible on that depth chart. This is a guy I've watched in practice just eat. I mean, just tear our defense up at certain points. And we had a pretty good defense this year.
Right.
And, man, he's a great player. And Ty Simpson's a great athlete. You know, we've seen him against South Florida, and we've seen him, you know, in mop-up duty against other teams. And we can't judge his entire career off of those moments, because you're not going to look good when you're thrown in like that. But, yeah, I mean, who's going to go? Who would leave? I don't know. The guys that stay really want it, you know. And I had heard you say that yesterday, and I love that we don't focus on the guys that want to stay. They're hyping it up. You know, we've got offensive lineman, his name escapes me. We've got Milroe out here giving quotes, talking about he ain't going nowhere, you know. Lawson, the linebacker, who played great this year. Man, we got so many guys wanting to come back. Malachi Moore, who was so good, great players.
Right.
you got to be excited for those guys. It makes you root harder for those individual players that you may not have really known much about, but you can't help but like them. That story of I'm going to stay here and commit. Like, we should focus on that more than the negatives. It's kind of like the nightly news. You know, some guy somewhere saves a kid from drowning in a pool and he gets 2 minutes, and then the next 20 minutes is something negative that just completely throws your brain off. We don't focus on the good enough. And those guys are guys we can build around.
Right, exactly. I mean, you asked me what was I excited about, and I gave you the 2 coaches, but also, man, just the fact, some you just said that I think with the new regime coming in, it will be competition all the way around the board on both sides of the ball, offense and defense. And I think that the best players will play.
Yes,
you know, the people,
I agree with that. He's going to want to make his mark early.
Right. And I think, you know, if there is any knocks on Saban, we can say that sometimes he may have been loyal to a fault to certain people that shouldn't have been on the field, or, you know, that the guy behind him was a little bit better. Yeah. And we didn't make the necessary changes that we needed to, you know. So
I think that actually hurt us this year in the linebacking, because I know me and you both were big Kendrick Blackshire fans. I watched his high school tape was legendary, man. It was like an and one mixtape back in the day. I don't know if you watched and one basketball in its prime, but it was like an and one mixtape of him just knocking the snot out of guys and jumping plays and just using instinct to make plays. He had a nose for the ball, and he would hurt you. And we used him a little bit last year, and he looked pretty good when we did. And then it just didn't happen again. Right. And I didn't understand that, because you should want to build depth, because depth in the playoffs is everything. That's how we can outmuscle smaller athletic teams sometimes, is the amount of depth we have that we can rotate. And we got away from it towards the end of the year, and it bothered me a little bit, because a guy like that, if he gets more playing time, he may stay because he sees an opportunity that he can start.
Right.
You know? So that kind of stuff does bother me.
Right. And speaking, like I said yesterday, and I said again today, Blackshire, you know, I was high on him. I still like the guy. People say he's not, you know, his vertical speed is not that good, but you use him the way he needs to be used.
Yes.
And I say it 100 times over. I watched his high school tape, and I still question whether that dude is how old he say he is. Like,
dude, he looked like Bo Jackson in his prime. And
right.
I remember watching his high school tape the first time, and I seen him go through the middle, jump the snap count, and hit a guy so hard. It was a running back. He hit him so hard that one of his cleats come off and the ball went straight up in the air. And I thought, oh my God, we got a Reuben Foster coming. And I was so excited. And I hate that guys like that didn't get their opportunity. And you can't blame them for leaving to go somewhere to try to get an opportunity, because they've only got a small window to show what they can do to try to get to the next level. So there's no hate on me from that. I just, what might have been with a guy like him or an Earl Little, you know, certain guys that I would have loved to seen, even Proctor, you know, I'd like to see if he could have developed even further. Caleb Downs, as good as he was as a freshman, my God, what would he have been a junior? You know, by the time his junior year, what would he have looked like? So, you know, those are guys that I'll have to watch other teams just to see if their development keeps going. You know, there's no hate in my heart for these guys. They did what they thought they had to do. It's understandable. You know, I didn't ask permission when I jumped jobs from anybody but me and my wife. You know, what's best for them. And they did what they was best for them and their families. I'm not mad at them. You got to do what's best for you in life.
Right. But at the same time, with like people like that leaving, you know, it makes room for the people who really have bought, you know, into the program or believe in the process to step up, you know, to show like, hey man, I'm here. Don't overlook me. You know, I want to be here. I want to play. And let's give those guys a chance, man, and buy into it, you know, with them, because they bought into the program. All the guys who've been saying positive things, who are here, even the guys who just signed, and then you sign, right? And then a month later, Saban retires, and you're like, oh man, it's crazy. I don't know what I'm gonna do. But for the ones who stuck their nose in the ground and like, you know what? I want to come to this program. I really would like to play for Saban, but he's gone. He'll be there in whatever capacity he will. I still want to be at Alabama. I still believe in Alabama, so
Yes.
I'm going to play for the Alabama Crimson Tide, no matter who the coach is. And you got to love those guys. Man.
That's what I was going to say. I'm not going to speak for everybody, but it makes me love watching those guys even more, that they're that committed to the program that we love to watch and root for. When you've got guys that clearly had the opportunity to go anywhere. You going to tell me Milroe couldn't go anywhere in the country right now? I mean, there's so much talent on their team that could have left and stayed, and that's what we need to focus, because they gave our coach a great base to build around right off. You know what I'm saying? And there's another thing to look at here. We're happy when we get transfers from other schools. Oh, we build him up. Oh, we're getting this guy from Texas A&M. He's fantastic. He's this. One of our guys leaves, blank him. We don't like him. Blah, 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 blah. Two-way street. It's a two-way street, guys.
What do you do anyway? Like, come on, man. It's a two-way street. It's a two-way street.
All right, I got a question, and here you go. I asked Rise Up this yesterday, and I'm gonna ask Van today. What happened to Tommy Reese?
Yes, you did. I'm glad you brought that back up. Look at Van's face.
I told you it was a question.
I'm pretty sure he's going to be on Unsolved Mysteries next week. I haven't heard a lot. I don't know if y'all have. I haven't heard a whole lot. There was rumors he was going to Georgia, and I never really bought into that.
Right.
He don't really fit what they do unless he was going to be a position coach of some sort. I don't know.
Does he know how to coach? Does he know how to coach lacrosse?
He may follow Buckner, and then you'll have to get a Tommy Reese shirt.
I haven't looked at the roster, but I don't know if he's still on the roster or not as far as coaching goes.
Yeah, we know he's not an OC no more, because clearly, where did he go? Like it's been really quiet, really weird. It was a great question, Icebox, because I really hadn't entertained it. Because to be honest with you, as soon as I heard we got Grubb, I was like, yes. And I didn't really give Tommy another thought, and I feel kind of bad about that.
See how the Alabama fans are? We just kick that man to the curb. No, if he hit the left, we can dog him out.
We're just as bad. I don't wish him no. I said some things about him during the Michigan game. I ain't gonna lie to you. In the heat of the moment, things were said. I don't wish him no harm. I felt like the moment was too big for him at times. I think he's still going to need to be in the game a little longer. Being at Alabama is just different, and
it is.
The standard before Saban was there was different, because the fan bases would push coaches that would have pretty good years anywhere else. We didn't accept it at Alabama, and we pressured till they kept going and got a coach that could build us back to where we needed to be. And that's what we forget sometimes as Alabama fans, is that our fan base ain't going to let nobody get comfortable. The AD's not going to sit there and go, all right, we've been 7-5, 5 years in a row. We're going to give you a contract extension. You're doing a great job. No, the Alabama fans are going to raise hell until something's done about it. And that always pushed their program, because they've set the bar so high at Alabama that we're not going to give this man a fair opportunity. I already know the first time we lose, whether it be Georgia in September or Tennessee or somebody, we're going to have this man sold down the river. We don't like him no more. I mean, I already know how this is going to play out. Right. And realistically, you got to give a man a chance. But don't panic. If he don't work out, don't panic, because the fan base is going to put so much pressure on the college, they'll have to make a change. Right. So, that's the thing we always forget about, is Alabama fans make things happen. The pressure they put on people, they don't stay long. They don't. Hey, you got to be a certain guy to be at this program long.
Right. I had sent in a group text last night to Icebox and Spencer and everybody. It was an article that I read, and I can't remember what the guy's name was who wrote the article, but he said DeBoer is a great head coach. Something to the fact, I'm kind of summarizing it. He would be a great head coach, but stupid Alabama fans won't let him be there for long. We'll run him off. It's basically what it said. And I kind of touched on that yesterday. I'm like, we got to give this guy a chance. You can't run him off. because it could be a diamond in the rough, and we won't ever get to see the polished diamond because it's that old saying, you can't see the forest for the trees, right?
Mhm.
You can't see the forest for the trees. You're so busy looking at the trees, you don't see the bigger picture, and we are impatient. And like you said, bro, we will make something happen, bad or
Yeah.
good.
The powers that be that help put money in certain programs and places at Alabama, they're not going to sit there and be happy with no 8-9, consistent 8-9 win team. Nope, it won't last. I wanted to highlight something Sam said in the chat. He said, "Guys, Kalen DeBoer turned down an extension last year and turned down 2 extensions last week. Fellas, he wanted to be at UA and others didn't. I appreciate Kalen for that. I agree. This guy's got guts to walk into this program. He would have been at Washington for a long ass time. He would have took that extension. He took them to the heights they hadn't seen since the early 90s.
Right.
I remember being a little kid and Washington was fairly good. They were consistently really good. Them, Colorado, teams that have fallen off but are trying to get back up there. And, man, he brought them to new heights. They were this close, and who knows what they would have been this year. And he turned all that down to go at Alabama and try to continue or even make better something that was bigger than he'd ever been part of. Man, there's some guts on this guy right here. I like his moxie. I like his he ain't scared.
As Rick James said, cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug. I want to be the Alabama coach. I didn't say that.
Well, think about it this way. Saban come in here. He didn't have much. I will say he didn't have as much talent as he has built up his first year. You know what happened?
Right. No. Very few coaches in history have had that much talent.
Yeah, and now look at Mr. DeBoer coming in here. He's got all the talent in the world. Yeah, he's losing a few here and there, but he's got, I feel like, better expectations. I feel like he should at the least, be an 8-4 team. 9-3 is going to be okay. 10-2, man, if he makes it there, great coaching job. He's got an opportunity to solidify himself amongst the best coaches that Alabama has ever had. Like you said, he got himself, he's brave to be the next man to follow. Man, it was about a month or two ago, Rise Up, people were talking what's going to happen or what we're going to get if Saban happens to leave. And you remember all the names, Dabo, Kiffin, yada, yada, yada. What this man could do in 2 years could be really amazing.
It could be special. It could be really special. Something that we've not seen in the SEC as far as an offense that good, probably since the 90s fun and gun under Spurrier. The possibilities there. And those names you just threw out there, I got burnt to a crisp by some people when Saban retired and we didn't know who the coach was going to be. People were throwing Lane Kiffin's name out there. And I don't like Kiffin. I'm just going to be honest. I like that he opened our eyes to a new style of offense. He's a little sleazy to me. I don't like his constant trolling. It kind of sets the fan base up to be something I don't really want to be part of. I don't like how he ended his tenure at Alabama. People forget how that ended. We were going into a national championship game, and he knew he was not going to – they had kind of mutually going to part ways after the championship, him and the university. And from the reports I saw, he was staying on his cell phone the whole time trying to put his stats together for Florida Atlantic. And he didn't have his head in the game, and Saban noticed it, and after a while, I just told him to go home. And that's when Sark come in.
Right.
And we don't want that, man. This is a guy that's just always looking around for his next opportunity. He's not a buy-in guy, and I didn't want him. What kind of defense has he ever been as a head coach? How good of a defense has he ever had anywhere in the NFL at any of his college stops? I mean, my God, he signed Pete Golden. I told some people. I told some of y'all in the text. I said, if we get him and he brings Pete Golden back, count me out. I'm taking a break. If they brought Dabo Swinney in here and his inability to change and progress with the times and move forward in college football and try to stay ahead of the curve, instead of just throwing your hands up at an interview and go, well, they're buying their base players and I don't like it and we're not going to win. No, I ain't watching it. I ain't watching this guy because he's not wanting to go out there and try to stay ahead of everybody. He just wants to cry about what's happening. instead of trying to get out front of it. And you don't want that. You don't want that guy. So I was so glad to not see either one of those names come. After that, I was open to possibilities. I was like, sure, why not? And I'll be the first one that did. I wanted D'Amico Ryans. I'm a D'Amico fan. I was a fan of him when he played at Alabama. I watched him play for the Eagles and the Texans in his pro career. I've been keeping up with him as a defensive coordinator at the 49ers, and then now that he's head coach at the Texans and the run they had. And, to quote KB, my Baltimore Ravens put them out of the playoffs last night. Man, they had a heck of a run because nobody saw what they were doing going to happen this year. He's a great coach. But I wanted that guy. But you know what? When they said DeBoer, I said, hey, here's a guy that's won at every level. The stuff he put together at Sioux Falls is legendary if you go back and look at it. I mean, they were doing some groundbreaking things not really seen in college football before, even at a small level. And just every stop, he's making places better. What more can you ask for, man? Give this guy a chance.
Me, I think, and like I said before, and I say it again, man, I think if we just have a decent season, like I was saying, everything else will fall in place, man. If all the players that are now buy in, we're going to get some more people as the portal open back up. And we're probably, we're going to get the depth back. And, we are spoiled Alabama fans. We want everybody to be a big name, 5-star this, that, third. And all the time, people, that don't make the difference. If you don't have the dog in you, and I hate to use that term, but if you don't have that in you, that it factor to go out there and make yourself or want to be better every game, every play, then you're not going to be it. A lot of these 5 stars and 4 stars are superstars. And superstars are all for themselves. We need team players. And I truly believe in my heart. This is my gut feeling. I think we're going to have a decent season. I think we're going to do 9-3, 10-2. I think that's what we're going to end. I think Alabama Child had put the schedule in the chat earlier. And if we can finagle that, that's going to right there cut down on a lot of them. They say, okay, this guy came in and Alabama has to win the season. And then all those other kids who may have been like, well, Coach Saban, we're gonna start looking at other schools like, well, Alabama they're still in the hunt. And if we mess around, just mess around and make the good team playoff, I think the following season, everything start lining back up, and this man all his chess moves will start to show. All his forward thinking will start to show, and I don't really think we're gonna miss too much of a beat. Yes, college football has changed, and it's going to change with NIL and transfer portal. It was going to change if Saban stayed. It is what it is. But Alabama, we're gonna be all right. We're gonna be good, y'all. Trust me.
Do you blame Nick Saban for being tired? Because I get my college football news mostly from Nick Saban Jr. And as soon as he drops a video, if I'm not working, I'm trying to watch it. And he was dropping so many videos when Saban was still there of guys transferring this, doing this, doing this, doing that. I couldn't keep up. And I thought, man, how is he keeping up? How is he doing this? So I don't know. He's probably tired. I was tired. Yeah. I was tired watching the videos trying to who was still there and who ain't. And I thought, man, I don't know how he's doing it. I don't know how he's doing it.
Right.
So, good grief, man. Like, football's changing. It's ever changing. And we don't even know how much change we're going to see next year as far as rules and regulations.
Right.
Is the NIL going to get even wilder? Or are they going to try to reel it in somehow and regulate it? We don't know. So, you've got to have a guy that's able to cut through it and stay ahead of it. And I think this is a guy right now, Coach DeBoer, that can do that because he done it at a short amount of time. Washington was 4-8 2 years ago when he got there.
Mm-hmm.
And they were they competed hard with everybody the first year there. I think they lost, 2 games, something like that?
Mm-hmm.
2 games. He's owned Dan Lanning, who was the big name that everybody thought was coming to Alabama. He has owned him at Washington. He's 3-0 against this man, who's another great young coach. He's 2-0 against Lincoln Riley. He's 2-0 against Sark. That's impressive because Sark's rolling, man.
Right.
And, to have those kind of numbers, that's not a fluke. That's a guy that's consistently getting better getting better, and he done it in a short amount of time. So it's got to be exciting as a fan to think what this guy can do, and being, considerably younger than Saban. He's not a young man, but he's younger than Saban, and that he could get here and build something and keep it rolling another 10, 15, 20 years if it's done right. Man, I'm excited about that.
Right.
That's awesome.
All right, guys. I just left the schedule up there for a certain reason. I've counted at we got Western Kentucky, win or loss. What do you think?
Better be a win.
Okay. We got I agree. USF. Or no, it's USF, Southern Florida.
South Florida.
Sure. Okay, win or loss?
Win, but don't sleep on them. I think we've seen that this year.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, we didn't have Milroe in there. Okay.
No, we didn't. That was a strange.
Right.
I would still love to know what was going on behind the scenes with that. That one always get to me. I want to know what was going on there.
Right. One of life's mysteries.
And I will say this: even with Buckner and Simpson in, that O-line was not giving those guys any time to do anything. So
no.
Yeah.
All
right. Let's go with Wisconsin. Win or loss?
We're at Wisconsin.
Yep.
A bit tough.
That's a W to me.
Yeah, I think we'll win.
All right. So you say we start off the 3-0.
I think we win off talent alone, just because Wisconsin's just not there yet.
Right.
Okay. All right. Biggin, Georgia.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
That's a tough game.
I believe it's we're playing at home too.
Yeah, we play at home, and that gives me hope that we can win this game. But Georgia has the talent. They have the coaches. We are basically a first-year team. We're gonna have a bunch of new pieces, coaches and players. So it's gonna be tough. That's a toss-up for me. But with it being in Tuscaloosa, I'm gonna say we possibly eke out a win.
Okay.
I don't like going against my team ever, but I also don't like lying to people and being unrealistic.
Okay.
And if I'm being honest, I think he summed it up well. Coin flip kind of thing. Georgia is Georgia is going to be more stable than us. Let's say that. They know what they're getting from their staff for the most part. They're bringing in some new pieces, but they're good pieces. Great head coach, great program, great players. I mean, it's asking a lot for us to win that ball game from a first-year guy who's not really been acclimated to the SEC yet and really know what the team – because he would have been here like 6-7 months at that point, 8 months. It's a lot to ask. I hope we win. I think we've got the talent to win against anybody, but if I'm being real, that could really be our first loss,
Okay. And just keep in mind, DeBoer did beat Texas.
That's true. Not only did he beat him, he beat his coaching career, by the way.
Yeah.
All right, so let's just say that's a loss. Let's just say that, okay? And I'm being realistic because it could go either way. And every Alabama fan, everybody in the chat room is going to be saying Alabama's going to win every one of these games. Come on, let's be a little bit realistic. Let's just say that's their first loss. Okay.
Right.
So now we're going to be 1, 2, 3, and 1. Vanderbilt.
Win.
Need I?
No, that's not.
Okay.
I'm trying to be the positive fan over here. If we lose to Vanderbilt, y'all better do a wellness check on me because
you better close the bridges down because I'm headed that way.
Listen, I have more faith in winning versus Vander than I do USF.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yes, South Florida made a bowl this year.
Okay, so all right, so now we're sitting at 4-1. South Carolina.
Win.
Yeah. Unless something happens. Yeah. I agree. All right, so now we're looking at 5-1. At Tennessee. We've been accused that we're trying to follow Tennessee's offense. That's a bunch of crap. Tennessee offense ain't never been where I want to see. But okay, we're at Tennessee. What do you think? Win or loss?
I don't know. Tennessee got a new face with the quarterback, and I don't know how he's really going to adjust. We looked at him at the bowl game they were in, and he looked okay, but that's not enough to really judge.
No,
I don't know. I don't know what Tennessee all. I don't know what all they have coming back on defense. I know they lose some players on offense. I don't know, man. That's a tough call.
Mm-hmm.
Van, what do you think, sir?
Great point about the young quarterback who, if you follow recruiting and you follow like 7-on-7s, this kid's look dynamite. I mean, he is a great quarterback, and we just got a sample size of what he can probably do. I seen things in the bowl game that I was like, hey, man, this guy's going to be pretty good, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, a good quarterback can beat a good defense a lot of times. You know, you throw that pass that just can't be defended kind of thing, make that correct
That back shoulder, man.
decision, you know, just things like that. I still think we've got the ability to win. I think we can win against any, and let me clarify that. We can win against any of these, but we've got a lot of unknowns, a lot of uncertainty, and we don't really know how we're going to approach a lot of this. So we're trying to be realistic. I'm still going to say win here. It's the next one that scares me a little bit, honestly.
Okay. Yep. You never. What do you say, Rise Up? Win or lose?
I'm going with Van. I'm going to win, man. My gut is telling me a win, and I'm thinking it's my gut, not my fanboy Alabama-ism. But they have a lot of uncertainties as well. So, you know, I know our roster and what we have, and I really do believe in our coach. I'm not trying to be funny, but I think Josh Heupel is a one-trick pony type of guy. From what I've seen so far,
yes,
you know, so he hadn't been building any defenses. So,
realistically, they took a step back last year.
They did. They
took the world by storm 2 years ago. You know, beat us in a duel, caught some people off guard, and then got housed at the end of the year and never really recovered from it. And they've really not made noise like they did since. And this year will be a make or break year. I don't think they'll fire him necessarily, but if they kind of don't improve from last year, I don't really know if Tennessee will keep making that noise and still be looked at as a possible king thrower in the East like they were. I know that won't be the East anymore. I know we're getting rid of divisions. I'm not used to that yet, but you know, they were looked at as a possible threat 2 years ago to unseat Georgia, and now I don't know. I think you're right. I'm thinking one trick pony.
All right, if everything goes well with the defense, I think we could beat Tennessee. I do, and that's just there's not enough common sense up here to tell me different yet. But I believe we can beat Tennessee. All right, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6-1 games. We're still conceding Georgia for right now until we see what's going on. All right, you got it, Missouri.
What does Missouri have coming back? Do they have their quarterback and is their running back going into the draft?
Yeah. I think for the most part they're containing a lot of pieces, and that was a scary team last year. They played Georgia really hard. They beat a lot of teams that people didn't think they would. They kind of come out of nowhere last year. I think we beat Missouri, but I think it's a game where after we beat them, we'll know so much more. Just like the Georgia game, just like the Tennessee game. Those are the 3 games where we know how much progress we've made in a short amount of time on both sides of the ball. I think we're going to win, but their quarterback is coming back. The running back is gone, but Missouri's got good. They're recruiting good, and they got a smart coach. And they'll show up and play anybody and play them hard. So it'd be a hard-fought win. We're not going to go out there and house them by double digits necessarily. I mean, we could. We may be ahead of schedule and just be blown away at how great we are. But I mean, looking at it right now, Missouri is a good football team. I think we win, but we learn a lot about our team afterwards.
I say it's depending on our defense. Last year, Missouri didn't play any defense really. You know, I remember the LSU game, and it was back and forth. You know, it was like whoever had the ball last, basically, was going to win the game. Basically, each offense would just lighten each other up. You know, the defense is up. So, if our defense is anywhere near what it was this past season, I'm hoping for better. Then I say we win, because I think our offense will be hitting on all cylinders. I really do think our offense. To me, my key worries by Alabama is I don't know what the defense is going to look like.
Yeah. I agree. We don't really know what to expect from these guys.
Right. So
Well, it is.
I say a win.
Okay, I'm gonna say because it being at home, we've got 7 games underneath their belt. Adjustments been made. Yeah, it might be a tough win, but yeah, I'll say it's a win. All right, so that puts us at what 7-1.
7-1. Mm-hmm.
Okay, one of the big ones. Van's favorite at LSU. Now, keep in mind they have lost their or they've changed all their defensive coaching this year.
Right. They lost their award-winning Heisman Trophy quarterback.
Thank God. That got scared the hell out of me, man. We were watching that game last year. I never felt comfortable, not one time.
And I think their receivers is going to the NFL, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think so.
Who do they have at quarterback this year? Anybody know?
Isn't he Nussmeier? I think
so. Nussmeier, dude, is he going to?
I don't know if he's the starter, but I know he was the backup last year. I think was the kid's name. Going to be a little different situation. He ain't quite the athlete at all that Jaden Daniels was. I don't really know much about the kid. I wish LA Chris was up in here. He could tell us about it. But being at home being against LSU on the road,
that's a tough beat.
Yeah, their offense was clicking, come out of nowhere last year. They get Bo Davis on defensive line, and God knows we know what Bo Davis can do.
Yeah.
And Louisiana's got talent. LSU's got talent. I was blown away last year that their defense was as bad as it was because the talent's there. So I think he made the appropriate measures and got rid of the guys that was coaching them. I thought that was a good move on his part. It's always a tough ball game. Let's be honest. The LSU, even when the guy that used to eat grass on the sideline was there, that looked good with stable recruits, even when he was there, you just never got comfortable because they may fake a field goal, they may kick an onside kick. You just never knew. And I mean, I think we win, but good grief, it'll be a tough ball game. It always is.
Ooh.
Here we go. Go ahead.
I'm going to say, with the unknowns, oh, Lord.
It hurts, don't it? It just don't want to come out. I'll save him, guys. I'm going to save him. It could be a loss. Very well could be.
And I agree. Don't take what I said for cockiness because they're bringing in some help on defense, and they've already got talent. The quarterback situation will play key for them because Jaden Daniels toted them to a lot of wins last year.
Right.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's just say, you're welcome. Our eyes up.
Yeah. So with that 7-2.
They scared me too, man.
Yep.
I get it.
7-2. All right. Now, of course, Mercer comes in.
Win.
Okay. We'll go. Give me on that. So that's now 8-2.
Keep it moving. Yep. Mercer next.
Okay. Oklahoma at Oklahoma.
Good.
Now, they wasn't all that last year. Now
they were good, and they showed promise to be better. I mean, they upset Texas at one point, and then lost to whoever. I can't even remember now.
Oklahoma State. They lost to a couple games that I didn't think they should lose.
I think we should win that ball game. Honestly, I really do. Oklahoma showed growth, but they lost a lot. That quarterback they had transferred to Oregon. They're going to be starting over in certain departments. So I think that's a win for Bama for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I'm with him. I say win.
I'm thinking win myself. I really am. So that puts us at 9-2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and we're looking at, and I see everything over here in the chat room. We're basically really trying to take a realistic look at what could happen this year. Of course, we all don't know. All right. All right. So that's how it's got us at 9-2. Auburn here. Not over there.
I'm going to win. I ain't even thinking twice. Win.
I'm going to say this. It's somebody that can't stand Auburn, and we all know. We all know how I feel about Auburn, and no sense in even stating it. Or how I feel about Hugh Freeze and his lack of development and whatever. he's getting some good guys on offense this year. He's getting some big time receiving. I still don't know how they fix that quarterback situation. I haven't heard anything about any transfers going there. I don't know if y'all have. I hadn't heard anything. I think we win still. I mean, but look at us last year. I mean, they played us to the bell. You know what I mean? 2 years ago, they played us to the bell. Like, it's Auburn. And Auburn's got a shot to beat a lot of teams just off of the craziness that is Auburn. I can't explain it. I think I've heard you describe it as a voodoo type situation that Auburn had.
No chicken bone.
Yes, they got a black cat tooth. They got a mojo bone. You know, they're doing voodoo down there. But I think we beat Auburn, please. And, you know, it makes my year better if we beat Auburn, regardless of the final total. But with that being said, that puts us at what, 10-2?
If we beat Auburn, yes.
That's a hell of a year, guys. That's a hell of a first year. You know?
Okay. Do you think that will be enough to put us in the SEC championship?
With 2 SEC losses, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because it could be a bloodbath next year with Texas joining and Oklahoma joining.
I don't know how to work with the new. I guess it's whoever have the best record.
I think so.
So who are we looking to have a better record than us other than Georgia?
Right.
Texas.
I forget about them.
Yeah, it's hard to get used to, you know. It's not being disrespectful towards Texas. It's weird for me them being an SEC.
I mean, the Oklahoma's still weird to me, even though I know that was like.
I see where one guy here says he likes 11-1. Hey, very possible. Very, very possible. Way ahead of schedule, in my opinion, if we go 11-1.
Oh, yeah. If we get to the SEC and we lose, that's going to be 10-3. That will not put us into the playoffs, do you think?
12 team? We might.
He could.
If we do, you talk about sliding in on number 12. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Right. I'll take that number 12.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to give me a chance. Just give me a chance.
Yeah.
Now, if we, of course, we just said what? Georgia and LSU is the ones we're really worried about, pretty much. If we can get past Georgia, if we can be competitive in these two, quote, losses that we may or may not have, you know, I still think this will be a very successful year, even if we don't make the playoffs. If you make us competitive in all these games, next year will be the really time to really talk, you know. But can he do it in the little time that he's going to have? Can he do it?
Good question. That is a question. I think, and this is just me, so this is not the law written down anywhere. But I think, like I was saying earlier, if everybody buys in, if the transfer people that we're going to get buys in, and they really, really, really come together as one team, as one unit, and we have a mission, because all the guys that are staying, especially the guys who this is going to be the last year, right? The guys who didn't transfer out. I'm talking about the Malakis, Miro, and whoever else is going to be. Like, this is my last year for real, and I'll be heading to the NFL. They have everything on the line here, right? They have everything on the line, and I think everyone is going to put their best foot forward. And even with the transfer that we got, the center that we have coming in, and maybe a couple other people that come in from Washington, they believe in their coach. They wouldn't be coming to Alabama, so they're buying.
You're right.
And they're coming off a bitter loss to Michigan, so they tasted it. They were right here, so close. I think that this team is probably going to overachieve our expectations. I just kind of got a feeling that we're going to overachieve our expectations. And if everybody buys in, like I said, the sky's the limit, really.
Yes.
It really is, you know. like I said, the only thing I'm really worried about, I want to see what's going to happen with the O-line, but the defensive line is the defense period is what I'm
Curious about.
I'm curious about. Because the offense, I know what I got, I know what we have on the roster, and I know the people that we brought in and put into place, Grubb and our head coach itself, offensive-minded coaches, and I've seen what they've done, where they've been. So I'm not really worried about the offense. I think the offense will be clicking on all cylinders.
I agree.
I agree. Just, if we can get the defense tuned up, I think we would be all right. I really do.
Because we got to think realistically. A lot of us had Milroe winning the Heisman next year.
Right.
I
mean, he was not even us. It was out in the sports world. He was a contender for the Heisman coming this year.
Yeah. He's on the short list this year already.
Right.
All right. Now you're going to put him in a situation with a guy that can help him develop somewhat. Kind of teach him a little bit more, because these guys are a little better offensively than what we've had in the past. At least in the last several years. And you're retaining a quarterback with that experience and that amount of talent and putting him with somebody that's even better at teaching offense than what we had. You're exactly right. I'm not so much worried about the offense. If the offensive line improves a little bit, our offense is going to be fine. Defensively, they're not names that we know a ton about, but I'm sort of excited about all the experience they bring, being head coaches at different levels and things like that. So, yeah, the defense is the big thing. And if we're even consistently close to what we were last year, Alabama's as good as anybody in the country again. I mean, that's just real talk. Just off the talent alone and what our offense will probably bring. If our defense is close, we're as good as anybody else in the country.
All right. So I am taking it this way, guys. There was a reason why I asked that question. 10-2, this and that. And we all agree the defense is really going to mount. So what that tells me is that you guys are fully confident in DeBoer and Grubb in creating us a great or very decent offense. Is that right?
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so it's really going to depend on our defense whether that number changes from 12-0 to, let's say, 8-4. Am I correct?
Correct.
So there you go. Is the world in the sky? Is Alabama going to just blow up and everybody's going to die tomorrow because people are leaving? People with coaching changes? No. I just proved the point to everybody in the chat room or anybody watches this show. We are not going away. We are staying here. We will be Alabama. We will be competitive. So you can quit your stressing. As a young man used to say that was on here, quit your dadgum stressing. You guys go ahead. I'm going to go smoke one.
All right. I want to say a guy in the chat here, Sam, said last year's defense gave up 20-plus points in every game since Texas A&M, excluding Chattanooga. It's very much true. Our defense was not to our expectations from what we had seen 10 years before that. You know what I mean? Like from that 2009, 2008 run up to about 2020, you could say. Defensively, we ain't giving up 20 points a game, So there's room for improvement on that side of the ball. And that's kind of what I'm hoping these guys can bring, maybe a new perspective, because as good as Kevin Steele was, and he'd been at Alabama 3 different times, and he'd been all over the country and done a good job, but he was kind of set in his ways. And sometimes you need a new perspective, a new way to look at things. And that's kind of what I'm hoping this coaching staff can do, is kind of give us some different looks and some different ways to look at things and attack them in a different way, because sometimes we become stale and people found ways to exploit that. And we would get by on talent alone to keep the game close just because there was so much talent, but you could exploit us in certain ways too. And we've seen it the last few defensive coordinators. And so I'm hoping these guys, and that's all you can do is just hope, hey, man, they're going to bring something different to the table.
Right.
But for certain guys to want to stay, they must have liked what they heard,
Exactly. All right. Like I say, you believe in the system, believe in the coaches, believe in yourself, believe in your teammates. And, you're like, I want to be here. I see success here. I see us winning here. And that's the key. You have to believe first. If you don't believe in yourself or the system, you already defeated. They say Mike Tyson won most of his fights by psychologically.
Yeah.
The dude and that's what Alabama used to do. I tell people this all the time. I never forget when we played Notre Dame in the championship.
2012.
When we walked out, bro, I just saw the look on those guys' faces, and I knew I said that point they lost this game.
Yes.
They lost this game on they have lost this game on intimidation alone. I just saw the way those guys were looking at the Alabama players as they walked on the field. I'm like, this game is over. It is. It hadn't even started yet, and it's over. And so, if you're in your mind second guessing yourself, it's gonna be a long day.
Yes, I agree with you.
It's gonna be a long day.
And you think about. I remember the year. I can't remember the specific date. It was 20. It was in that 20 because the years run together on me sometimes. But we opened with USC like 6-7 years ago, and I'll never forget watching them because they had some hype coming up on them coming into the year.
They all barking and kicking and
barking and crawling out of the smoke and just crazy as hell. And then you just see the Alabama guys just sitting over there like eat them up, and you could see it in their face like they were angry about how dare you even show up here and act like that. And then we wore their ass out in that ball game.
Exactly.
And there was a grit, a toughness, but an attitude to Alabama's defense back then, and it's been missing.
It's been missing, man.
It's not felt the same in a long time.
It hasn't. It hasn't. We had, like I said, we had guys, man. When those guys walked on the field, the opposing team was like, okay. Hey, man, and we don't have that anymore. I've heard we talked about other teams being in other fan bases being in our chats, and I've heard from a lot of other fan bases in our chats. Nobody's scared of Alabama anymore, and they're right. I can't take that from them. They're right. Nobody's scared.
The way we've played the last few years, especially I'd say the last 2 years, with the mistakes on the offensive line and the botched snaps and getting beaten certain plays on defense, if you could play fairly mistake-free, you had a chance to beat Alabama.
Right.
A good program could hang in there with Alabama.
Right.
So, the mystique had kind of left a little bit that we were to be feared, like you said. So possibly we're going to be some type of different way to look at, people may fear us offensively now. Hey, these quarterbacks, they're throwing for 400 yards a game and 6 touchdowns. You don't know what's coming, but I have all the faith in the world that our offense is going to look considerably better than it has in the last few years. Because not knocking Tommy, he had 1 year to do it. It's not really his fault. He's a young man. He may end up being one great coach one day. Right. But, a lot of times this year, his decision-making hurt us at certain points and not put our players in certain positions to be the best athlete they could be on the field. From Milroe all the way down, there was times he should have got him in and out of that pocket, and kind of helped him be able to not be sacked so quickly. There was times that Milroe held on to the ball too long. It wasn't always the offensive line. There was enough blame to go around everybody. It was not just one person.
Right.
But, I seen where somebody said that we've got 2 offensive linemen returning. That may not be a bad thing, guys. Addition by subtraction sometimes can change a mentality in the locker room, and getting some new guys in there may help us because we were not getting those men's best. It's not to say that the center don't go to Ohio State and be the best in the country this year, but we weren't getting the best of him. So he didn't need to be in Alabama. He doesn't need to be there if we can't get the best out of him. So I'm not worried about returning 2 offensive linemen. That don't bother me at all, actually. I think that may be a sign of good things to come. I'm glad Roberts is coming back. That dude's a mauler. If we can build around that and that center coming in, we're going to be okay. I can't help but be optimistic about what we're seeing. I'm excited as a fan to see some new things. Things that we possibly have never seen before offensively.
Right. I mean, I'm going to liken it to I'm thinking we're going to see something similar to what we had with Sark as far as the play call and the different schematics that that they're going to bring that we're not really, we're used to, like, because we were at one time a one team first, but the times have changed.
Yes.
But I do have a question. With that center committing to Alabama, where did that leave Brockemeyer? Did Brockemeyer go? I mean, he's been here for 3 years now, so
right. And I've always wondered about this guy because there was so much hype around those Brockemeyer twins coming in.
right.
We never got to see it. And one left, early and went to Texas, last year?
Mm-hmm.
And then this brother stuck around, and we've really never heard nothing about him. And there was times this year that I sure wish we would have put him in and tried. But yeah, does he stick around and compete and try to see if he can beat this man out or what? Yeah, that may be another name we could possibly see hit the transfer portal here soon. Who knows?
Because we know this guy's coming in was on a Joe Moore Award winning line, so that's a good thing,
Yeah, that he was a key piece of it. So,
right.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Icebox, I don't know about you, my friend, but I think we're about ready to round her up.
Right.
Any last things you want to say?
No. Well, I will say this. I appreciate Rise Up coming on, helping us out.
I've been wanting to
always.
I'm glad he finally did. It's been fun. I loved it, man. He can always get me interested or have a different take that will make me think differently, and I have to adjust on the fly and go, okay, I see that. Now I got to come this way with it. So yeah, I love that, man. I appreciate you being on here. If y'all didn't watch the video he dropped yesterday, you need to. You're missing out on something special. It was the kind of speech, the kind of thought that we all need as fans sometimes to lay back on our expectation, realize these guys are college kids. Don't get mad at their decision makings. Be happier about the guys that stayed and going to buy in because they're going to play harder for us and make it funner for us as a fan base. So if you hadn't got to watch it, please go back and watch it. Any last words, sir?
No, man. Just I just like I said yesterday, and I will say again tomorrow and the day after, man. Us as Alabama fans, give this new coach and this new staff and and the new players a chance. Let's buy in. Let's support. Because we are Bama fans, and if we support them, we're supporting us. We're supporting the program, and they need it from us, man. They need they need to hear our cheers. They need to hear us talking them up, cheering them on, rooting them on. There's already enough negativity out there in the world, and they hear enough negative stuff. We need to really support these guys and show them that we have their back, and we're glad that they chose the team that we love to play for them, to dedicate themselves to them, and we're gonna ride with them till the wheels fall off. So that's all I have.
I try to feeble attempt to encourage people that we're not looking as bad as you think we are. We have a possibility with this coach of having a more high potent offense. Much is to still be determined on our defense, how it's going to look. But I believe with Saban still there, he's ready for advice. I believe our defense is going to be all right. And I don't know if it can be better. Thank you, Mr. Kevin Steele, for coming and improving our defense for that. That's for sure. We appreciate it. I'm just curious about the defense, but guys, the sky's not falling. I'm trying to encourage everyone. This could be a fun year. It might even be more fun than what last year was, watching the team grow and be put together. So we've got a lot to look forward to this year. It's not all doom and gloom, so I'm ready for it. I can't wait for a 8-day game. I really can't. Our man Rags and Fitness is going to be down there, I'm sure, and hopefully some more of you guys. And giving us freaking Northerners on. Why in the world I moved up here? A gleam of hope of what's going to really happen. So yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. It's time to stop all this negativity crap and let's get behind our team and push them. And I think it's going to be a real fun year. I really do.
Also, one last thing, Alabama fans, don't let other fan bases dictate your day. Don't let them get you out of character. There's a old saying that I try to live by. He who controls your emotions control you. Right. So if you let them get you out of character, that ain't good. You know, let them talk. You know, let them talk and do whatever they're gonna do. That's all good. That's fine. Hey, sticks and stones, you know the rest.
Oh yeah,
But
All right,
if we end up with the laugh, that's all that matters.
that's right.
That's right. I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna stop and let these other two guys have at it. Rise up, people are wanting more of your rants. So consider them. If you want Van or somebody else to do it with you, that's fine with me. But I'm always honored and always privileged to come on with you. You know that. I jump at the chance anytime.
No problem.
You need to. You know what I'm saying? So do that. Bigfoot show tonight, 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock. Hope you guys will be there and have a little bit of fun with that. We're going to just get started, so look over my mistakes, but let's have some fun with that. Van, with that, everybody loves you, so I'm going to leave it on you. How about it?
Number one, of course, I want to thank my friend, Roll Tide and Rise Up, for coming on here and giving me something extra to talk about, a different perspective, a different way to look at things. He's good about always kind of being centered and thinking outside the box and not getting too emotional, not getting too crazy. I think we could all model ourselves after that a little bit because – and it's not that he's a perfect man. None of us are. But it's being able to realize that I was a little crazy right there. I got a little too – I was a little too mad right there. I need to pull the reins back because you're exactly right. If you can't keep yourself in check, somebody else is controlling your emotions. They're controlling you, and we don't want to live our lives that way. We want to be in control of our own destiny, our own emotions, and being a better man. You want to be that type of person. So I'm glad you can come on here today. I've been asking you for a while to come on. I know you're busy. You got a family. Sundays are hard for people, especially with this time frame. But man, I appreciate you coming on here so much, man. It means a lot to me as a friend and as a fan. So thank you for that. I want to thank the chat for showing up and making some great conversation. We're lucky to have the fan base we have over here and the people that we consider friends and like family to us. And they always bring a great conversation. They always have great points. A lot of them are a lot smarter than me. They need to be on here doing this and let me be in the chat. But, things weirdly work out the way they do. So I want to thank them. Of course, I want to thank Icebox, the mad scientist who always gets in the lab, comes up with different things, is always trying to approach from different angles, never wants to be complacent. He's always wanting to change and make things better, and that's going to make the show better. So thank you for the opportunity to let us come on here. I can't wait to watch the Bigfoot show tonight.
All right.
It's the first time I've seen some of my kinfolk in a long time. Yeah, Icebox, you got anything else you'd like to say? Anybody else got anything they'd like to say? If not, we're gonna go out with it there.
Okay, yeah, Bobby. He's my buddy. I like Bobby. All right, yeah. If y'all ain't got nothing else, Rise Up. You got anything, bud?
No, sir. Great. Thank you for having me, Van, as always, man.
Yes, sir.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
Yep, it is for us too. All right, we enjoyed it, guys. We're gonna get out of here. Hope to see you guys tonight. Man, much appreciating Rise Up. I really loved it. Loved your rant yesterday too. That was great. And you give me some more video for to put on for you today. I will draw some stuff on him and everything.
What you gonna say, man?
One thing, as Coach Dude always says, every day above dirt is a blessing. Stop all that stressing.
Yes,
Words
sir.
of guys.
Words of wisdom.
Much love. Yep.
Words
Much
of
love, much respect. Guys, y'all have a good one. We're going to get out of here. Thanks again, guys, for being with us.
Roll Tide, everybody.
Roll Tide, guys.
Roll Tide.
You've got to be better in all 3 areas of life, which, of course, are spiritual, mental, and physical. You must be able to discipline yourself. If you don't learn but one thing out of football, it'll be worthwhile. There's certain sacrifices that you will have to make. There are going to be many sacrifices you have to make in later life. To fight. Oh, I don't mean fist fight. I mean to get up and come back and get up and come back and get up and come back again after you've been knocked down. And that could happen to you in later life. But if it does, you're going to know how to handle it. There's no one that ever has or ever will accomplish anything alone. I've read about self-made men. That's Tommy Rot, as far as I'm concerned. I don't even know how to define intangibles. And I know that if you learn these lessons, you'll have it. And if you have it, you'll win, and you'll be better prepared in those 3 areas of life that we've been talking about. That there are going to be times for everyone that you're going to get discouraged. But if you never lose sight of your objective and never give up on yourself, if we do that as a team, 11 at the time, 4 years from now, why, we'll be walking out of here the national champion.